And then you think about when you're stressed, what are you doing? Are you running from anything? Are you like actively like fighting it off? No, you're sitting in traffic, you're sitting at your desk, right? And it changes. You start pumping out different chemicals and it changes your heart rate. You breathe more shallow. Your digestive gets your whole digestive system very sluggish, like because it's pulling energy from things to put it in your arms and legs so you can survive, right?
Mhm.
But it's shutting down all the things you need. People like they think they have fertility problems, but really you're just so stressed out all the time that your body's, you don't, if something's trying to kill you, you don't need to reproduce right now. We're going to pull some energy from that
Yeah.
system. Like, okay, that's a problem if you're trying to accomplish a goal, right? So, and same with like, think about all the digestive issues that
Oh
are
my
out there,
gosh.
right? When
Yes.
you're stressed all the time, your digestive system doesn't have the energy it is supposed to have to do its job, right? So it really affects absolutely everything. And, like I said, the other body system that's a messenger system is your endocrine system. It's your hormones. They're chemical messengers that go running around to different organs and things that say, hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. And when you're stressed, they're giving a whole different set of commands than like, hey, we have to function properly. They're just
Yeah.
trying to live. And so when they say stress makes you sick, this is why stress makes you sick, because it changes everything about how your body works.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Wealth Within Us. I am Michelle Blais, and today I am fortunate to have with me Tracy McGovern, and she has been a practicing reflexologist for over 25 years now, and is also a co-owner at Complete Wellness, a holistic wellness center in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. So thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on and talking and having a conversation with me today.
Thanks for having me. Great.
Absolutely. So you kind of wear a bunch of different hats, especially being the co-owner of a wellness center. So
Yeah.
where did this all begin on this natural holistic journey for you?
Well, let's see. How long is this record? No. Um, well, let's see. So we go way back. It really started by accident, as all things do, So,
Or synchronicity?
yeah, right, exactly. So I had been a psych major and I worked for probably a decade in residential treatment of kids with behavioral disorders, which is a mildly stressful job. And so when I left that, like I really
Yeah.
just wanted non-stress. And I did. I found a fun job and it was great. But while I was doing that, I got really, really, really interested in aromatherapy, essential oils, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna feel like I date myself here, but like that was before, you just like went on the internet and found all the stuff and the recipes and could shop and all
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So it was like books, finding the places that you could. So
Research.
it was crazy. So yeah, so from that, all the books I read talked about reflexology, of which I had no idea what it was. So eventually I read a book about it and I thought that was really interesting. And then a class came across in front of my face, as they do, and it fit my schedule. And I took the class and I graduated. And 2 days later, the company I was working for went bankrupt. So I
Oh,
kind of just,
wow. And the
I couldn't.
company you were working for was not in the health and wellness?
Not necessarily. It was
Okay.
actually really interesting. That's a whole other thing, but it was a
Okay.
great, it was so much fun. But there were some elements to it I could pull in, but it wasn't that. Um, but, I just kind of took that as a sign and I started my practice. And so I've been doing that ever since. And so, I've been seeing clients forever. And then what year are we in now? Like in 2017, I partnered with Stacey Ford and we created Complete Wellness. And
Okay. Yeah. So, and today it's June of 2025 that we are
yeah,
recording this.
yeah. So it's been a little while. It's kind of crazy. So.
Yeah, that has been a good while. And, you had obviously a few bumps in the little
Oh
road
my gosh.
there.
We could write a book. Chapter one,
Mhm. The
surviving
beginning.
COVID. Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Especially
definitely
as
an
a
interesting time.
hands-on wellness center where
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know, is reflexology, can you do that remote? I know so many modalities you kind of can, because we all
Mhm.
are all energy and,
Right. It's true.
we're kind of
It's
here
really
and there and
true.
everywhere.
I personally, the way I look at, and it's definitely energetic because I think any
Mhm.
hands-on is energetic.
I
You
do
can't help
too.
it no matter what. But,
Yeah, and we're energetic beings.
yeah,
So if we're
yeah.
energetic beings, then most of the modalities that we do involve energy in some way, shape, or
Right.
form.
Well, you're putting two different energy fields next to each other, no matter what you're doing, if you're putting hands on. So there's definitely
Yes.
always energy there. The way I kind of explain reflexology is more in a physical way. So for
Okay.
me, it's basically interacting with the nervous system, getting the nervous system to relax to a point where you kind of shift gears out of the stress response into the relaxed response so that your body works the way it's supposed to and it can work to self-correct. So you can't really do that remote, So it was an interesting couple of months, but it was just a couple of months and we made it.
Back in business.
Yeah, we did good. We made it work.
So with the aromatherapy, how does that play a part in reflexology? Because I would assume that they're connected. And so I'll tag onto that question. How connected is reflexology and acupressure?
Okay, so that's interesting. So aromatherapy, it can be like it's very interactive. It's very complementary. That's the term. I actually don't.
That makes the most sense.
I don't use it as much in practice as I used to when I first started. And so you can utilize it different ways. You can utilize it like diffusing it so it's olfactory. You can utilize it. I would mix specific oils and creams for people depending on what was going on for them. So they were getting it right through their feet and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. But it's funny. I actually, it's not as incorporated anymore as it used to be. It's probably just layers of stuff in my life and things have moved out of the way. And then,
but you hone in on what works. And if it's complementary, it's complementary. But if it works with or without it, then it's just a bonus at that point.
And it's a frequent conversation, that's for sure. But it's a thing definitely people can do for themselves at home. So, it's just not, it's funny. I don't think about it. I haven't thought about it in so long that it's just not as interactive with what I do anymore, but that's interesting. So, yeah.
Now, what about the acupressure?
Acupressure. I knew there was another part to that question. I'm sorry. Only one thing at a time, Michelle.
I know. We just talked about multitasking just before.
Yes. And what I've realized is I'm much better if I'm solo tasking. That's my sweet spot, which is hard to find, but that's a different conversation too.
Good for you that you can do it. Because I think so many of us are, which is probably why we all need reflexology to balance our nervous system. Because I'm sure the more multitasking we do, as I get off topic, the more we are like spread thin and our nervous system is like, wow, which way do I go?
It's actually not off topic because like people don't realize how constantly you're in the stress response. Like basically your nervous system I always refer to it as gears. You're in stress gear or you're in physiologically relaxed gear, which is different than I'm just relaxing gear. And so almost everything that's like normal in our lives now, the constant technology, constantly being connected to other people, constantly moving, constantly doing more things than once, constantly being exposed to all kinds of crazy things. We don't think about all of that puts us in the stress response, which is not the way your body's supposed to function on a normal basis. You're supposed to have like whatever crisis you have, live through it and go back into your relaxed state. So your body's balanced and it's working the way it's supposed to and it can fix things. But we don't ever get that.
Relieving and experiencing those emotions. I'll add that little layer and experiencing those emotions, processing them fully and letting go. But as you just said, part of that whole nervous system is also these unprocessed emotions we're all sort of storing away for later.
Yes. Yes.
Whenever later.
I'm hoping to never open the box. Yeah. Right. It's so many layers.
Whoa, there's a lot of emotions in there.
We'll just close that box. Thanks. Yeah. Oh my God.
I'll deal with that later.
Yeah. There's so many things. There's more things that trigger our stress response in our lives now than don't. And so it's become our responsibility.
It's almost like we're living in almost a continuous fight or flight.
We are.
Unless you can really sit back and have quiet time to yourself or meditate. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, even energetically, because we've all got this energy that we get from, even just watching YouTube or if you, God forbid, watch the mainstream news or anything like that, you're probably really needing to see Tracy.
Yes. You need a daily appointment.
Daily, hourly.
You just stay in the chair. I'll be right with you. Yeah, for sure. Really, and that's the thing is now we all have to learn all the different little ways all day long that we can remember to shut off our stress response because it makes you sick. You can't function.
And you make a really good point where it's like how is it that we're at the point right now we actually have to think to shut off our stress response system? And, even I caught myself the other day, like, Michelle, don't freak out. Like, take it down a notch. Like sometimes we can so easily spiral depending on when things come up, the mood we're in, when things come up, the state we're in, when something throws us off.
Right. Yeah. How many other things are going on at that time, which is all the time. And yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy. Like we've created it's just a stress space. We're just in stress. And so it's our job now to, but the good news is, there's things you can, like you can go and get reflexology, you can go and get a massage, you can go and take a yoga class, but there's stuff you can do, like you can breathe.
Yes.
Breathing is such a quick and easy, it's
Yeah.
free, nobody knows you're doing it. And it's really, you just have to build habits. You have to
Yeah. You can go
build
outside
habits.
and ground. Just
Yep.
go outside and step on the ground. Go outside and soak in even a few 5 minutes of the sun
Yep.
if it's out.
Without sunglasses. Yes. Without your sunglasses. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's things we can do. So it's not, totally, it shouldn't stress you out, all the stress.
Right.
That doesn't work. So, yes. Oh, acupressure. You were talking about acupressure. So when I define it to people, I'll say it's an it's an acupressure touch, but when you think more about acupressure, you're thinking more most of the time, you're thinking more in terms of like Chinese medicine. So there's acupuncture and acupressure, and they're very related to the meridian system, which there's a lot of people that actually utilize that in conjunction with reflexology. I'm more nerve focused
Okay.
and meridian focused. You can't really get away from it. Like you're hitting it anyway, but like just the way I describe it to people and work with it, I'm more thinking, kind of the nerve reflex points, which can be the same. But yeah. So, but acupressure, when you say that, you're really talking about someone who's working like the same meridian points you would work with acupuncture, but using hands instead of needles. So it's similar,
Okay.
but not exactly the same.
Almost a different form of touch, so to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes so much sense. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you first started getting into reflexology,
Yeah.
what was it that sort of drew you to it that you were seeing results? Because I can imagine, and it's funny, and I've interviewed a lot and talked to a lot of people who kind of come from that psychology, psychotherapy world.
Yeah.
They've now switched into a more natural and holistic modality. And the common thread that I hear is that what I was doing wasn't working. It wasn't helping people.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that fits
Yeah.
into
Well,
your.
so as far as like when I was working in the field, it's one of those things where you're never really sure. I was working with kids that had been removed from home, and like if you're really in their lives in that work that I was doing, right? So it felt like some stuff happened. The problem with that was the system more than the work,
Like
so
that's
it's
a common thing as
the
well.
system with the way paperwork had to do, and the expectations considering the things they've gone, like it was just that killed me. I could have worked with the kids my whole life. The system, that's what stressed me out. And so that was my whole theme, was like, and I didn't realize, like, I was young when I was doing that.
Okay.
And I was in it for like 10 years, and you don't realize, and it took me, it was probably almost a year that I had stopped working that job before I started to realize how different I felt. And I realized just how much stress I was under all the time, and the difference. And so that's, for me, it was like, okay, that's a big difference. And if that's something I can help people, relieve, be aware of, temper, that's, that was the big thing for me, because I want to help people. That's why people go in fields like that. You want to help people. And so this is nice because I get to help people just by educating about awareness of stress and the different kinds of, because there's people that are like, I don't have any stress. And I'm like, do you breathe air and eat food? Well, yes, you do. You have stress.
Well, it's like we've become numb to the stress, to the fight or flight. When you're living something every day, when you actually take a pause from that, if you choose to take a pause from that, because I think a lot of people don't.
Yes.
It's only then that you can see how much stress you're under when you reflect, or when you start doing something like reflexology, and you can be like, wow, I was really under a lot of stress. So I think a lot of us don't even, like, we're not even aware of how much stress and how much fight or flight that we're living in almost every minute of every single day, from the time you wake up, depending on how you wake up.
Even when you're sleeping. Most people go to sleep, you're still in fight or flight. That's why you wake up and you're like, did I even sleep? Kind of, but you didn't rest at all. You weren't processing any better, so, but
sleep is huge. It's huge for our repair and regeneration system. It's huge for metabolism. It's huge for our mental, emotional stability.
Everything. Digestion, your hormone balance, like everything. So many times people come at the first time they get reflexology, they sit up and they go, I feel weird. I feel like I had a couple glasses of wine. And I'm like, that's physiological relaxation. Try and remember what that feels like. Like, this is a goal. This is what you
Wow.
want to get yourself to.
That's a good
Um,
way to put it. I love
yeah.
that.
But it's a weird, people are like, this is weird because no one's used to feeling that way. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's where we're supposed to be. Welcome. There we go. So,
Yeah, exactly. And I think any of us that if you've gotten anything, and I've had reflexology at your wellness center, and I think no matter what it is that you do, if you're doing any kind of
yes,
alternative thing like acupressure, acupuncture, Reiki, energy work,
massage,
whatever,
right now.
reflexology, when you kind of do walk out of there in this sort of blissful,
Yeah.
like, please don't
Yep.
interrupt my bubble.
Right, exactly. And I'll tell you, I mean, so we have a salt room at,
Hmm.
at Complete Wellness. And my favorite thing is when people come out of any service and just go right in the salt room because, you get that magical little relaxation bubble. You get to feel what it feels like. And then you go get in your car and drive in traffic. Like,
Yeah, like bubble
in the
gone.
salt room. Yeah, sit in the salt
It
room, like
popped.
soak in, like wallow in that for a little bit. And it makes it makes a bigger difference. Like it's a great,
And
it's
you
great.
kind of let everything that you've just experienced and everything that you've just physically and energetically shifted kind of settle into place. Because I think that's the other thing that we do when we
Exactly.
move so fast. If you're just saying, well, I'm gonna meditate every day, and then you sit down and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna meditate for like 10 minutes. And then you get out of that meditation, like, okay, now I'm boom. And it's like, whoa, like wait
Yep.
a minute here. Like to me, I always have to, I'm like a gentle wake up and even if I do meditate in the morning, I'm like, and then after I kind of come
Well,
out of it, then I
yeah.
do take that extra couple of minutes. So I think a noteworthy to anybody listening is whether you're receiving an in-person treatment or you're doing something for yourself at home, like take that time to
Yes.
decompress into it and decompress out of it.
Yeah. And try to keep it too. Like if we
Ah,
can remember what it feels like, we can get back there. You can,
and how do we do that? What are you
right? The
like?
more
How do
you
we get
remember
back
what it
there?
feels like. Yeah. So I
Mm.
mean you can do it with, so I say breathing a lot because meditation, you say meditate and people freak out. Like, I can't meditate my brain and blah, blah, blah. Great. Can you breathe? Just breathe. Just breathe. In fact, just breathe and like count when you breathe because pay attention to counting.
And then you're
That's all.
focusing on the counting and not the other thoughts that kind of seem
Right.
to wander in.
Right. And then you're like, shh, you're accidentally meditating, but I'm not going to tell you that. So it's cool. But like,
Yep,
so,
meditating.
I mean, that's really the simplest way. But like, if you do anything that puts you in that state and you take the time you're talking about to just kind
Mhm.
of sit in it, pay attention to it, come out of it a little slower, and, remember that's what, when you start to like do some deep breathing or you sit in a meditation or whatever it is you soak in the tub, like whatever it is you go outside, put your
Wow.
feet in the grass, like think about how did I feel when I got out of that 90-minute massage, right? That should come with an Uber ride home, by the way.
Right.
Because I don't know, okay with that. I just lay there. But
And that should be an addition. Like you just tack that onto the
yeah,
service,
ride
20
home
bucks extra
included.
for a
Yeah,
ride home. Yeah.
I agree with you.
And
But
that's
like if
pretty
you
genius.
right, the more you think about it though, and you remember how it feels, you can remind your body of that and get back to it. Like that's that goal. So you can do, so you can start doing that yourself, and then you realize where you are. You're in that relaxed state.
Yeah.
So,
And the brain doesn't know the difference of if it's happening now or if it's
right.
happened not yet or if it's already happening. If
Right.
you're visualizing and focusing on that, the
Yeah,
brain
your
thinks it's
subconscious just does
happening
it.
right
Yep.
now. That's why
Yeah.
you could sit there and if you're really cold, you can literally meditate yourself warm. I mean, there's so many things that we are capable of just ourselves.
That's
And
the
we're
most
incredible
incredible.
beings.
Like, so I love saying I've been doing anything for 25 years. It's not traumatizing to me at all. But anyway, so I've been doing this for a long, long time.
Ooh,
And it's still amazing. Yeah, I was 3 when I started and yeah, all that stuff.
I
But
made it today.
the body is freaking amazing. Like just the information that it works so hard to impart for us. Like I'm working on this basically. Your feet, I call them the cliff notes of your body, right? So it's your
Oh,
nervous system was kind enough to kind of like put a little point here, like this goes to this, and things. Between the client and me, what I'm feeling, what they're feeling, and the little conversation we have, you kind of get these notes as to like parts of your body that aren't so happy, parts of your body that are working really hard, parts of your body that they seem to be doing all right. But like when you start getting everybody in that space where they can work together in that relaxed space, like what the body can do, it's incredible, and if we could just pay attention and like give it what it needs, we can fix a lot of stuff. We can fix a lot of
Wow.
stuff ourselves. We really, really can. I've watched it happen over and over and over again, and it's just amazing. And it's not me. I'm just kind of getting the body in the space so it can do the
Yeah,
work.
you're almost like the conductor.
I'm the facilitator, right? Like, here,
Facilitator. Yeah.
give that a try, like, yeah. So the body's an amazing thing,
It is. It is. I always tell people, and it was funny. I said this to a friend of mine, and he's like, "Did you just come up with that?" And I was like, "I think I did." But I said to him, I said, "I always feel that we can heal ourselves to the point that we believe we can. Like if you think that you could be completely 100% healed with whatever's going on, then you can. If you think, well, I think I can get some relief from this, then that's what you'll get." So I kind of always like that analogy. So
Yeah.
push your faith, people. Like
Yeah.
just push your belief system and
Yeah.
your faith. Because
Yeah.
you're right. We were designed to heal ourselves.
Yeah. And, I think with that, the caveat I'd put to that is, you have to recognize you have power over the decisions you make
Right.
of
Absolutely.
what's going in, on, and around in your body. And they're important. And they're going to make the body's job a lot easier, if you're
Yeah.
giving it things it can work with instead of giving it things that, you know, tend to create the problems and things like that. So,
Exactly. If you keep putting in the same junk and expecting a different outcome by still
that's tough.
continuing to do the bad, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not really helping
Yeah.
yourself.
Right. Exactly. I mean, in some instances, anything's possible, but why make it harder? Like,
Yeah. And why
again,
feel crappy? Like when we do those things to ourselves, we really don't feel good. And I think it kind of goes back to that what you were saying about the body remembering how it feels not to be in that state of stress. It's also, I think, the same of when you stop putting bad things into your body,
you feel
you
so
feel
different.
so much different. And you're like, wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing how feeling crappy that we can get. And that crappy is now our baseline normal.
Yes. I lived that, like, cause I was about 12 years into, being a reflexologist and doing the thing. And all my hair fell out and, which gets your attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're trying to tell me something. So,
I don't
um,
know.
yeah,
It's
right. So
falling to the
basically,
ground.
it was bad. So that was like my own personal health journey, and worked with functional medicine and found out, it's an autoimmune thing. And my body is very persnickety about certain things that, it works better with this and not with that. And everybody's very, very different. And that journey is
Yeah.
huge and important for everybody. But even after, like, I know this is what my body works best with. And if I do that, I get to have hair and my body doesn't hurt. Like, I didn't realize until doing that work how much my body hurt all the time until
Wow.
I changed things. And you're just like, wow, like, I don't have to like grease my hips before I walk down the steps in the morning. Huh. Like, I didn't even know I was doing that, but you had to do it every day because they hurt. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize it. You just don't pay attention. It's normal. And yeah, so it's when you, yeah. So
And
when
the
you learn the
coolest thing
baseline,
is when you get out of it, how quickly you forget how bad you felt.
yes, which is a plus and
Like,
a minus, I think, because then when you
yes,
have
I
those,
agree. Yeah. Yeah.
when you fall off the wagon and the wagon runs you over and explodes, do you know what I mean? You're like, oh yes, it
Yeah,
takes time
that
before you
clicks.
realize
Yeah, I
how
didn't.
bad you feel when you do those things. So yeah, it's not an easy journey, but it's one worth taking.
And when we're paying attention, um, then we can notice those things much, much easier because I feel like when something's going off, when you have any kind of dis-ease in the
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
it's telling you we're just not listening.
Yep.
And by us not listening, it's like your body ups the ante, like, oh, you didn't pay attention to that little this.
Oh,
Now I'm gonna give you the big thing. Because
yep.
you're gonna pay attention. You have a heart attack or whatever, and it's like, oh,
Right.
something's going
Well,
on, or
and
your hair falls out, like
the saddest thing
attention
about it
now.
is, how long did I have all this joint pain and stomach upset and, all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
How long did I have that? Did that gradually build before my body went, you know what, whatever, just make her lose all her hair. See if she notices that. Like, that was the thing. It wasn't all the pain and the things not working
Yeah, the
right.
little
It was my
things
hair
are
fell
there.
out. I mean, and I don't even think I'm a vain person, but you are when your hair falls out. And like,
Yeah, I think everybody is.
right. And then, but you're like, seriously, that's what I had to do. But like, Yeah. So and I think you know, I think it's pretty prevalent just because it's the world that we live in is just fast and layers and cover it up. And, you take the painkiller so you don't feel the pain. Well, that fixes nothing, but sure, you don't feel the pain. So you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you forget that it's even a problem. And
And then you don't address the things that are actually wrong because now you've almost like we were talking about our emotion, then we just put it in that box to hide away and fester. It doesn't
right.
mean it's cured or it's
Nope,
resolved.
not at all. In fact, it's probably getting worse because of all the things that you're not addressing and blah, blah, blah. But that's like standard operating practice in this country. So I'm always hopeful. So it was an interesting twist after COVID. Like, I feel like just based on our clients and kind of the flow of things, I feel like people definitely got a new understanding of the importance of self care. That, like,
I would agree.
that things like, massage and reflexology and things like that, like, it's not a luxury, it's actually self care. Self
Mhm.
care being part of healthcare, being the biggest part of healthcare, really. Like, I think there's more awareness of that, which is a good thing. Maybe we got a good thing out of all that mess, but so yeah.
Yeah, I think it woke a lot of people up to a lot of things, even more than just that. And I do see more people since then. I've kind of been in this sphere for a very long time, like yourself, not as a practitioner, but more as a
Observer.
student of learning and a student of different things and healing my own self and my own journey. But I do see people are becoming much more open to different things because I think they're seeing that what they've been doing didn't work.
Yeah.
And you have a thing like COVID and you're like,
Huh.
not a lot of what they did worked.
Yeah.
So what do you do? So your trust is broken down in that system and you go and seek alternatives and you see
Yeah.
things that do work. And it's not being so much poo-pooed anymore, like
Right.
woo-woo or
Right. Like, the
like
idea of being proactive instead of waiting and reacting to things. I
I
think more people are kind of checking
100%.
that out, you know. I
And
mean,
that's
still,
simply cleaning up your diet, even 80/20, 70/30, even cleaning up your diet is something proactive that you're doing for yourself and for your health. And I always
right.
say that it's the least selfish thing. Self-care is the least
Yes.
selfish thing that we can do because we're not just doing it so that we feel better, but when we feel better, think about how much more time you can give to your husband, your spouse, your family, your friends, your profession, your passions, the
Right.
things you love to do that maybe you've put aside.
Yeah.
Maybe you were in joint pain and you love painting. Well, you're not painting if you're in joint pain and you can't paint.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so true. And like, there's, well, I hear them all the time. So I'm like, are these cliches? Have people heard this? But that whole, like, self-care isn't selfish. This is a line I say all the time. And it's also like, you have to put your mask on first. You have to fill your
Right.
cup, because how do you take care of anybody else if you
Can't.
can't get off the couch? Do you know what I mean? You can't. So you owe it to yourself and everybody around you to, like, put yourself first. It's not
Yeah.
going to take away from anybody else. It's going to make it better.
And it
So
ripples out. If people see you taking care of yourself, then they see the value of it because you're creating value by taking care of yourself. You're valuing yourself. You're valuing your place here, and then that ripples out, and other people see it too. I think it is one of the most selfless things that we can do.
absolutely, absolutely. So it's one of those things where, you have to, just like, you have to make going to the gym a habit, right? Which is a
Right.
terrible example for me to use, but people tell me you have to make going to the gym a habit. So, but
I
it's
don't go
something.
to the gym, but I do work out at home, and
Exercise, right?
yeah.
So you have to make
So yeah,
exercise a habit,
exercise the
right?
house. There you go.
And a lot of people
Perfect.
they're very good at that because they know what it does for them, right? And so it's the same thing, like, whatever self-care you're going to do, you have to make it a habit, right? And so what I find interesting is, we have a small handful of people that are exceptional at making it like a consistent part, and they schedule out like 2 or 3 months in advance. They never change their
Mm.
appointments. They build all of and the ones I'm thinking of, they're all business owners, and which is a lot. There's a lot to that, but they never change their appointment. They're always there religiously. They don't. It doesn't get touched in their schedule. Almost, I would say, 98% of that list are men. Women don't have.
Wow.
They seem to have that skill where they put it in the calendar and they don't move it because so and so needs help with this, or hey, can you help me do that, or oh, but I really wanted to have this meeting then, and they alter the things for taking care of themselves to take care of other people. And so, like, yeah, I think we need to. as women, I think they need to prioritize themselves
I
more.
think I think as women, we seem to be when a man does something for himself, like now I know, yeah, now we're going there, people.
Right, right. Well, it's not, I'm saying that's not a bad thing. That's how it should be.
It
But that's where
is, yeah,
I
but
hate that, like,
exactly, and it always seems like as women, we always seem to kind of put ourselves second or third or last in front of everybody else's needs. But back to what we were just saying, think how much more you can give, how much more you can do if you took, and you're not asking for, I'm not saying, go on a month-long retreat and
yes,
whatever, but
right.
a half hour, 2 hour
Yeah.
appointment, getting
It's
a
an
massage.
hour, like once, maybe
Yeah.
twice a week. Like, come on, you can do this, right?
Yeah, you can do that for yourself because you're actually doing it for you're doing it for everybody that your life touches,
Exactly.
whether you know them or not.
I mean,
And you're doing even if you're just driving in the car, you're not rage driving. The traffic is happening and somebody cuts you off and you're like,
yeah, I'm good.
it's all right.
Right. You must be having a crappy day.
Yeah, well, it was just a little bump.
Not kidding me. Yes.
But
I
it
think
changes your whole outlook kind of on everything.
it really, really does. Yeah. So,
Gives you more patience, more clarity, keeps your nervous system in check and out of that consistent fight or flight mode like we were talking about.
it gives you that awareness. Like, so you become
Mm.
aware, like, oh, I'm definitely feeling the fight or flight right now. What can I do to change that? Because it changes your physiologically, what? It changes your, I'm not even gonna be able to say it now. I started down that road. It's a physiological complete change in how everything's functioning, and it affects how you think and how you process information. And so it's a whole shift. So
Yeah.
you're completely right. If you can manage to get yourself into that non-stress space, yeah,
So
it
with
wouldn't.
reflexology, we're talking about mostly the nervous system, right? So just like tell people what exactly is the nervous system? What are we fixing? Because the nervous system they're all a huge deal, but the
Right.
nervous system is
It's
everywhere. It's just not like one organ. It affects
No,
everything.
it's everywhere. It connects everything. It's your electrical
Mm.
messenger system, right? It's, oh, I touched that, it's hot. The second you touch it, your brain knows it's hot, right? There's no time lapse there, right? You're just like, oh, that's hot. I should move my hand, it's
Yes,
pretty
yeah.
quick, right? So, but yeah, so it's your electrical messenger system. Your hormones are your chemical messenger system. Again, that's a whole other conversation. So, but basically, and this is a really like simplistic way to explain it,
Right,
but
right.
so basically you have there's two spaces your nervous system can be in. You can be in your sympathetic nervous system, which is stress. That's your fight or flight, right? We all heard that from
Okay.
like seventh grade biology. Something's trying to kill me. I either need to outrun it or beat it up, right? That's the right. And then you think about when you're stressed, what are you doing? Are you running from anything? Are you like actively like fighting it off? No, you're sitting in traffic. You're sitting at your desk, right? And it changes. It changes. You start pumping out different chemicals, and it changes your heart rate. You breathe more shallow. Your whole digestive system very sluggish, like because it's pulling energy from things to put it in your arms and legs so you can survive, right?
Mhm.
But it's shutting down all the things you need. People like they think they have fertility problems, but really you're just so stressed out all the time that your body's, you don't, if something's trying to kill you, you don't need to reproduce right now. We're going to pull some energy from that
Yeah.
system. Like, okay, that's a problem if you're trying to accomplish a goal, right? So, and same with like, think about all the digestive issues that
Oh
are
my
out there,
gosh.
right? When
Yes.
you're stressed all the time, your digestive system doesn't have the energy it is supposed to have to do its job, right? So it really affects absolutely everything. And, like I said, the other body system that's a messenger system is your endocrine system. It's your hormones. They're chemical messengers that go running around to different organs and things that say, hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. And when you're stressed, they're giving a whole different set of commands than like, hey, we have to function properly. They're just
Yeah.
trying to live. And so when they say stress makes you sick, this is why stress makes you sick, because it changes everything about how your body works. And so it's really important. It's oh, I'm so stressed, and yeah, well, yeah, but you have to actively like you should want to stop that because it's changing everything about how your body works
Yeah.
in a good way. So yeah,
And the thing is, like our nervous, it is part of the whole. And that's what I love about natural and alternative approaches is that it does treat the body as a whole system. So it isn't just the nervous system. It affects, like you said, every single organ. It affects our
yeah,
hormones. It affects
yeah.
our aging. our
Yeah,
repair and regeneration system,
absolutely.
our pain levels, everything. So, I mean, and I think people don't often realize that our body not only communicates on the inside, but like our whole aura, our biofield, we're
Mhm.
communicating with everything on the outside with, that driver in that other car, with the person you work with, the person you and I are connecting right now with your animal, with like everything. So we're not just communicating internally, we're communicating externally with all those signals and everything.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Like it's all, yeah, we're all one big disjointed organism. So, um, this just popped into my head. But one of the, people are always like, well, how do you know? And how can you tell? And so
Mhm.
probably the most interesting thing that happens regularly is people get on the table and I start working, and somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes into the session, stomachs start to gurgle and everybody always apologizes. And I'm like,
Okay.
this is like the first sign that your nervous system actually has started to shift gears, because you're getting power back to and your stomach and everything's gone, oh, we have to process some things, like we got a backlog here,
Forgot about
so
that.
yeah, right. So it's cool, so the stomach gurgle is a really good sign, and almost everybody experiences it, somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, and it's kind of cool.
How long is a typical reflexology session?
Um, 45 minutes, I consider a
Okay.
full session. And, depending on what we're doing, some people come 30 minutes, like if they're coming every week or every other week, and you can do an hour, we can do some other special things in there too. So, but 45 minutes is a good solid reflexology session.
And then into the salt room.
Oh, yes. Yes, please go right into the salt room. Some people get their reflexology in the salt room, which I especially appreciate.
Ah,
Please
yeah.
do that. That's great.
That is good. Book that special service there. Yes, yes. So what happens with reflexology? Are you doing, so say someone, we had mentioned it, had infertility or has joint pain or things like that. Is it that you specifically tailor to each individual?
So it's both. Every time you see me, every single little tiny spot on your foot and ankle get addressed, because you get the whole body involved, because the body knows better than we ever will. But I pay attention to what you and your reflex points, like what you're telling, if you come in saying this is going on, and then I'm paying attention and, see what reflex points, because sometimes something's going on, but it's not necessarily that thing that is
Hmm.
causing it, or, it's not, so you just pay attention. So I follow what the feet tell me, basically, and
Okay.
spend a little more time on spaces that are requesting it. It's probably the easiest way to say it. So, yeah.
I remember you said something to me once, and it was something about how, like, our whole body, everything in our body is in our foot, or something like that. Like it's a mirror for
Yeah,
everything in our
really
body.
is.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I thought it was just the
Yeah.
coolest thing that you said, that we
It
just have no idea. Most people just don't know this.
Well, and what's cool is, like, it's like the body tries really hard to give you as many tools as possible to figure stuff out, right?
Hmm.
Because like I focus on the feet. I like to focus on the feet because I just feel like, well, I feel like I can manipulate, like understand the points and manipulate the
Right.
points better, like for me. But I also feel like you just get so much benefit for lymphatic flow and circulation from your feet, because most of us are sitting down all the time, and it's motion that moves things out of your feet and back to your body. So I just feel like it's that extra push for those things. Um, but the map, your feet, your hands, your ears, your eyes, your face, your back, like there's all different places that have these maps, which are basically, that's what I refer to as the cliff notes of the body, right? So on the
Okay.
feet, it's like the nerves have been kind enough to be like, here's the spot, and if this is has an attitude, it's referring to here. And it's amazing. The other day, like it's really cool when you're working on somebody who has,
Mhm.
some kind of awareness of their body, because I'll be working and they'll say, I feel that in my shoulder. Where are you pushing? And I'm like, it's your shoulder. And the other day, somebody was like, this was crazy. It's been 25 years. Nobody ever said this to me, but they're like, oh, and they like put their hand like on their side, like in the front. And I just stopped. I'm like, what? She goes, I don't know. I just felt this little twinge right here. And I was working on her adrenal gland point, which sits on top of your kidney. The adrenal
Okay.
gland point's in your foot, but your adrenal gland sits, because some people, I've said that, like, oh, it's your adrenal gland. Oh, I didn't know that was in my foot. It's not. It's not. It sits on top of your kidney. But that's where she's holding. I was like, wow, that's impressive. Like I've never, but you can really, it's it's fascinating. It's really, really fascinating. What happens, or people, and this happens, like if you really truly think this is all just a crock, go see a reflexologist when you have like really stuffed sinuses, like you have a head cold,
Oh,
right? Because
okay.
I've worked on people where I just do one half of their, like I do 1 foot, which is like half of your face.
Right.
And so this side drains and the other side doesn't.
Like, okay,
Well,
you're good now. Tell me how that feels.
that's right. And it's crazy. Like, and that's just one of the, I don't know what it is about reflexology, but reflexology does not want you to have like clogged sinuses. Like you will drain if you have stuff in your sinuses. I've never had anybody not. It's crazy. So
Who
it's
wants
this,
to have all sinuses stuffed
yeah,
anyway?
nobody does. Yeah. And
Okay.
most people, and for so many reasons, we're stuffed all the time, which is, that's like,
Oh yeah,
again,
I mean with the allergens and pollutants just in the air alone, not to mention the food we eat, and we could go on and on. But like, ooh,
yep.
people, yeah, get
Oh,
that
yeah.
taken care of.
Absolutely. Hmm. Yeah, it's just I mean, it's this many. I'm over 2 decades in. Oh my God, and it's still fascinating, like what we find and what happens, and it's amazing. It's just
Well,
amazing.
it's so interesting because, like you said, every body is different.
Yeah.
So every client that comes in is some kind of different issue, background, whatever they're holding on to, whatever they're not holding on to, whatever issues that they have, everybody's going to respond differently. Some people are going to be more sensitive on a point and then other people won't. And I think that's what the coolest thing is. Like you said, we've all been given this body that was designed so
Uh-huh.
perfectly to help heal.
Yep.
And
Like, please pay attention. Here, I give you tools.
and I get it. Like it gets hard as your day goes on and as years go on, like you said, like, and if you're living in this fight or flight for years and years, you don't even know what it feels like.
Don't you
And
don't. Mm-mm. This is why people cry when they come back from vacation, right? Because by the time you're on day like 6, you finally relax, and then you're like, "Oh my God, I have to go
I
back."
have to leave. Are you
So,
kidding
like, that's
me?
the ticket, right? Is to create a space when you're back that you don't have to run from, you know?
Yeah, even just a corner in your house or
Yeah.
some kind of little haven that you can just go to
Yeah.
and wow, and just dump all the stuff.
Yeah. And
Just let it
you
go.
can train your nervous system, you can train, your mind that when you're in that space, you can just let it go. You remember what it feels like. You get back to it really quickly. Like, absolutely. It's your happy place. Whether it's someplace in your head or someplace in your house, you have to make that space. So,
Yeah, and journaling I find is a good way to sort of get that stuff out. And some people like affirmations, because I think they can help visualization. And I've told people too, if you're having trouble meditating, like you said, breathe, count, put on a guided meditation. I mean, there's a million of them out there. I find sometimes if your mind is racing, the guided meditations kind of
yeah,
help you.
anything to give you
And
focus.
yeah, anything to focus on almost a single thing, a single voice, a single.
Something else besides the monkey brain.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, our brain can definitely get
Yep.
all over the place. I just woke up this morning and I said, "Oh my gosh, I've been waking up with all these racing thoughts every morning. I need to calm that down." But I had the observation at least of it that I was like, wow, because I think it had been a couple of actually, I'm not even gonna lie, it's been like a couple of weeks where I've had these racing thoughts in the mornings, and I just finally brought this awareness to it, like, wow, okay, we need to
Yeah,
do something to
that
cut that
that
back.
I find like I have the book. It's the book of lists. You know what I mean? So like I just get it out, and then it's there. I don't have to worry about forgetting it because this is always a possibility. So once I can put it somewhere, I know where it is. I don't have to. That's helpful. Some form of journaling. Really, it's just a to-do list that never dies. But whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, journaling, sometimes you can just get out whatever. And the thing I love about journaling is that you don't even have to be able to read it.
Yeah, thank
Like
God.
when you're at that and you're like, I have no idea what I just wrote, but I feel really darn good.
And
So
it's out.
don't worry
Ta-da!
about being a
Yeah.
perfectionist sometimes. And I've done like the angry journaling before where you're just like taking up a whole page with whatever it is you're writing.
Pumping it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. But yeah, but it is because like you said, we're all energy, and that's that. It's almost like a discharge
Yeah.
if you think
Yeah.
about it, like you said, we're electrical beings. So it's like you got to discharge that stuff that's stuck in there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's good
So,
stuff.
so what other services do you offer at your wellness center?
Oh, well, let's see. A complete wellness. CWQuakertown.com. Sorry. Just I feel like a little.
And no worries, we will have all of not
It's
just
fine.
your contact information, but we will have all of your contact information and the contact information for the center in the description on
Oh,
whatever
that's fine. I was just
platform
kidding,
people
but
are.
that's nice. Thank you very much.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love highlighting small businesses and especially people like yourself that are like you're helping people almost like get back to reset if you really think about it because we're so far off. I mean, if you think about our bodies, our temples, or this
Yep.
vessel that we have, I mean, it's been programmed with a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff that isn't true, that isn't serving, that is just junk. And just like a computer, every time you got to hit that reset button, you're
Get a
like,
reboot.
we need to start from scratch there, pal.
Get a new computer.
We need
Forget
to
it.
do the same
Uh-huh.
thing with our bodies. We got to like literally deprogram what is not working and not serving us. And when we really take the time, like you said, to think about it, it's probably going to be more than you think, but tackle it a little bit at a time. And that's like what you said, your weekly appointment, your weekly self-care, your daily self-care, whatever your daily self-care is, even if it's just something you do the minute you wake up or before you go to bed.
Yeah. Before you go, I mean, both are really important because when you wake up, you're setting the tone for your day, right? But like
Yeah.
before you go to bed, if you just sit on the edge of your bed and do 2 or 3 minutes of like long, slow, deep breathing, like,
Okay.
and you shift your body into that relaxed state. Like if you go to sleep in the relaxed state, physiologically relaxed, not I just drank a bottle of red wine and watched a movie, which is great. I'm not saying whatever, but that's not
Apple ice
physiological
cream or
relaxation.
something with it.
So if you get yourself there and you go to bed, like you're going to bed and your energy is balanced. Like you just gave your body a huge tool because now it can do what it's
Wow.
supposed to do while you're sleeping. It can kind of do a damage report, see what it can do, and do the work it needed to do during the day. And, so going to sleep in that relaxed state is huge. It's huge.
Ah. Or even if you can kind of give your body like a nudge before you go to sleep, like I love my digestive system so much, but it needs a little bit of help.
Right.
Sometimes I do that. Like I'll talk to different parts and be like, please repair while I sleep.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, you're sleeping. Stuff should get done, but in a nice way.
Right. Yeah. It's that whole it and even sleep is kind of a reset and
Yes.
repair
It's
because our
supposed to
body
be.
does repair. And when we don't get enough sleep, our
Yeah.
body can't repair or digest, like you said, the
Yeah.
rest and digest.
Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
super important, not just the quantity, but the quality of the
Yes.
sleep that we get as well. And
Well, and that's really why
yeah.
people wake up in the morning and they just feel like they didn't sleep. I was asleep for 8 hours. Why am I so tired? Because you slept in that stress response and your body was like, I'm sleeping, but I'm ready. Something's gonna try and kill us. It's like, come
Yeah,
on,
yeah. And
settle
and
down.
it's those different states of sleep that we even get into. Like how deep of a sleep did you or did you not get into?
Yeah. Like, everybody's got their little Apple Watch thingies now, right? So that's an interesting, play around with that. Like look at a regular
Huh.
night and then do some stuff on purpose, shut off your
Yeah,
electronics
very
an hour
intentional.
before, be in a dim setting, do some deep breathing, and then go to bed and see what's different the next day. Like
Yeah.
see it for yourself. Your body will show you. So
And if you sleep with like your phone next to your head, put that across the room or shut the thing off and see
yeah.
what difference that makes. I mean, I don't have one of those, so I don't know, but it would be interesting
Yeah.
to
I don't
see
have an
what
Apple
the
Watch
difference.
either, but yeah, but everybody's got, they're always like, oh, it told me this. And I'm like, well, that's fascinating. Like play with that then, make it do something useful. So yeah, that's interesting. But
Love
so
that.
yeah, you asked about services and
Oh yeah. So
I went off
what
tangent.
what can people besides
So,
the
and
end
I will
room?
say this about complete wellness. We are a lot of times the phone call when people like can't find other answers. And like our goal is we have a bunch of different services because we want to be able to help you like guide you in places to start and things to connect. Because a lot of times it's like you have to find your combination of things. And not that you have to come every single week or every single day. It's not about that. It's about finding the right tools that are going to help you get where you need to go. And so, of course, we have reflexology. We have a wide variety of different kinds of massage services, which with some really experienced, skilled
Hmm.
practitioners. Like we curated a really cool bunch of people that can help you out. We have energy medicine and shiatsu, both of which are actually focused on meridians, on that whole Chinese medicine, the meridian
Okay.
system. Um, there's we have Reiki, which is another form of energy work. We
Mhm.
have the ion foot soaks to help detox things,
Those
which
are
are
fantastic.
which are gross, but totally fascinating. Like you have to do it. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. And then the salt room and infrared mats, which are just the infrared mats are great. You can use them with a service. You can use them in the salt room, and they just help circulation. They help the body heal. They're very grounding. Like, yeah, they're amazing tools. So, yeah, so we kind of utilize all this. And then we have, we have a couple of products that we carry, and we carry them because we, like, the part of the crew have had some kind of incredible experience,
Right.
and we
And I know
and
3 is one of those, if you want to talk about that for a little
yeah,
bit.
so we carry the 3 international, or they're nutraceuticals. So, um, like, I'm a big, big, big label reader, and like these people, the science behind it and the just the effort they've put into, like, they check more boxes than I would have looked for.
Wow.
It's legitimately amazing stuff. They have really great science behind it. All of the 3 supplements are in the physician's, well, it's now the physician's digital reference. It used to be the physician's desk reference, but now it's online. It's not a big fat blue book anymore. But basically, most of that is pharmaceuticals, and there's very, very few supplements or nutraceuticals in there, and every single one of them that we produce are in there,
Yeah, that's
because
a big
you
deal.
have to do a lot of like science and proving and study, third party stuff. Like, it's the fact that they're in there, like, just shows you the quality that they did.
Right.
But what really gets me is the difference it makes for people. Like, I brought it in because it made such a huge difference for me, when I fell off the wagon and the wagon ran me over and blew up, and I was just doing stupid things I know I shouldn't be doing, and I hurt myself. And anyway, it helped pull me out of an autoimmune flare, and it was so incredible that I researched the heck out of it. Started sharing it with some clients, but just amazing, amazing outcomes. And it's just a really great. It's a proactive tool. So just
Mhm.
you can take things that give your body the tools it needs to function the way it's supposed to function.
Yeah. Yeah, to help
You
your
don't
body
have to get there,
reset not only faster, but
keep
better.
you out of keep you out of trouble,
Yes,
give you the tools you need.
out of
So
trouble.
yeah, it's really, really, yeah, I could.
And like you said, I mean, that's the proactive thing. I mean,
Mhm.
don't go to complete wellness because something is wrong or any other
Yeah.
place that you're thinking about doing. Go to be proactive so you can avoid the things that come. Like, why it seems like we're always just waiting. Well, I'll go do that if something comes up.
Right,
But like,
right.
it might already be there. It's
Yeah.
just not tapping
It
on your,
You're just not noticing,
yeah,
till your hair
it's not
falls out,
tapping
like,
loud enough for you to hear it.
exactly. Well, and that's the thing, like, and I tell people this, like, when you come for reflexology, depending on why you come, like,
Mhm.
I might say, listen, if you can, we should see each other once a week for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then we're going to push it out, and we're going to see what your body, what do you notice, and how long does it hold on for? And like, what, so, I mean, my goal is, I want to see you once a month, just so that you do your little tune up, make sure everything's good and okay, but some people come on purpose, like weekly or every other week, just because it's the stress management tool. It shuts that stress system off.
Yeah,
So, but like, that's not what I'd rather it be where you're in a great space that you can, you come once a month because you want to do upkeep, not because we're trying to fix a problem. So it's, yeah,
exactly. And it's exactly what you said. Stress management is managing that stress so it doesn't become something bigger.
yeah, exactly.
And none
Yeah.
of us want that. I mean, really, like, who wants that? No one.
We don't have time for that. That's
Oh,
silly.
nobody got time for that.
You take your time for your self-care, you won't have to take your time for repair. That's kind of how it is.
Yeah, I love that. Well, so we kind of like went over everything that you did. Just real quick, let me know like what do you want people to leave this conversation with, and then tell people where they can go online and how to reach out with you to book an appointment and to see all of the great services and offerings that you have.
So I think the thing to leave with is, like,
Mhm.
you have a lot of power. You have a lot of power over your own health. It's not always easy because it's shifting habits and making decisions, but you can get a lot of support in that. And you can also give your body a lot of support. And so make self care a priority, whether it's little tiny things every day, or, where you go and have somebody do something to you, on a regular schedule. Like, just figure out how you want to fit it in and put it in there, and don't let it move around, like, do it. Just keep it where it is. Make it that important. That's probably the biggest thing. And then, as far as, so complete wellness, we have a website. It's CW, like complete wellness, cwquakertown.com. And we're also on Facebook. I think we're on Instagram because, I'm so savvy with things, but both of those are CW Quakertown as well.
Okay.
So you can follow us there. And yeah, all the information is on those places. You can give us a call or a text and we can help you out with whatever's going on. So,
Yeah. And even if you just want a consultation, like, hey, this is what's going on.
yes.
What do you recommend where do I start? And I think some people, they don't know where to start. So they can give you a call and.
Absolutely. And the thing of it is if it's something that like, it's not us or it's not just us, like we refer out all the time. Like we're not trying to just get you to come and see us. We want you to, we want you to do what you need to do to get to where you want to be. So yeah. So you can always.
Yeah, see, we all work together.
Plan. That's yes, please. That would be great.
Yeah, we're all awakening, we're all rising. And what I like to say, and if you watch this podcast, you've probably heard me say it all the time, is because we are remembering. We're all just in the midst of remembering who we are and how much power we do really have.
Yes.
Well, oh my gosh, Tracy, thank you so much. You have shed so much light on reflexology and all kinds of other things. And I love your self-care tips.
Thanks.
So I really appreciate you coming on and spending a little bit of time with me today.
I'm going to share one more thing because
absolutely
too many things and I forget.
I know. I
actually teach reflexology as well. And there's actually a program starting in the fall. So if it's something that's a calling to anybody, check out the website. It's on there as well. So,
and you're kind of consistently doing it. So if you watch this a little bit later and you've missed it, you go to the website and definitely check that out because maybe you
rolls around every year, every other year. So it's consistently happening. So yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And to everybody else out there, thank you for watching. And I will see you on the next episode of The Wealth Within Us. Right now, you can begin aging gracefully, full of energy, vitality, and overall wellness. But as time goes by, our bodies can start to show signs of aging. Until now, introducing LifeWave X39, the world's first product that activates our own cells. This breakthrough in regenerative science helps restore our bodies to a healthier, more youthful state. X39 uses patented phototherapy to elevate a copper peptide that signals cellular activation. Think of it as your internal repair system, generating younger, healthier cells that can rejuvenate your tissues and organs. Just one X39 patch applied daily is all it takes. Safe, non-invasive, and backed by clinical studies, this is your chance to regain control over your vitality. Don't miss out on the future of anti-aging. Experience the power of X39 today. Visit patchedlight.com and start living younger now.